We are 48 schools across 14 cities, but together we are one Shawnee mission, and this is our time to shine.
So after an amazing week of spring break, I'm excited to welcome you all back to episode 16 of Shawnee Mission Mic'd Up. I'm Dr. Michelle Hubbard, and I am your host today.
And I'm Dr. Jeremy Higgins, the co-host for Shawnee Mission Mic'd Up. We're excited that you are listening in to this special episode. We're doing something a little bit different on today's episode. We're kind of live and in studio with a studio audience here with us. So this will be a fun episode to work through for all of us.
Yeah, class of fifth graders here at Comanche Elementary, and we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. But I just want to recap real quickly what we talked about on the last episode, which was episode 15, and we just recapped the strategic planning process, and we're really excited to continue to move that process forward. And we just finished up last week naming our action teams. So for just a reminder, we have the 6 action teams, and so we have 30 to 40 participants on each of those action teams. And we named those again last week, and now we're prepping for our first action team meeting. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, the work is going to really begin starting, I believe, next week. So throughout the fourth quarter, those action teams are going to be meeting and putting in a lot of time and effort into the next strategic plan. So exciting times ahead with that.
Absolutely. And just a reminder that we'll go to the board in June. So let's move on to some March Madness.
Let's talk about March Madness. Spring break just, finished up, and it's March, and lots of fun things in March.
Well, I'm going to start with the weather, because the weather, you all know I hate the cold, and it's just been amazing in March, so the weather's been great. But we've also had some great March Madness happening right here in the Shawnee Mission School District.
Lots of things to celebrate. A couple of state basketball championships coming back to the Shawnee Mission School District. The South girls capped off an unbelievable season, winning the state championship, and the Northwest boys.
Incredible.
Wow, undefeated. I mean, that's impressive. So congrats to the Northwest boys team and their undefeated state championship season as well.
So I was there for both of the wins, and it was just so awesome, not only to win, but just to see kids doing their thing. And so, you have basketball players doing their things, you have student managers, the video production team, and Prince Miller from Shawnee Mission South was on the podcast a couple episodes ago. Just incredible to see him out and in his element, and I'm pretty sure he could be our next video production team here in Shawnee Mission.
Yeah, that video they put together for the South was really cool. If you guys haven't seen that on Twitter, go check that out for sure. I think I saw somewhere the Northwest student section was actually helping the South student section during one of the games, and it's kind of cool to see that school district rivalry come together and cheer for one another. And
so I saw that all week while I was there, and it was just a great representation of one Shawnee Mission.
Yeah,
that's what we're all about. It's great.
Absolutely.
So
Northwest robotics team, shout out to them as well. They won regionals, qualified for the World Championship. So not all sports related. The robotics team doing their thing as well, which is really cool.
We had Stella from Shawnee Mission South, back-to-back state championships as the first female in school history and actually district history to do that.
Yeah,
so
winning this state championship in wrestling. So kudos to her, and just across the district. I mean, there's too many things to highlight all of them, but so many great team accomplishments and individual accomplishments throughout the district as we wrapped up that winter sports season. Just cool to see, and now we head into the spring season and hopefully for continued greatness.
Absolutely. So we have our own March Madness, and then additionally we have just finishing up the Big 12 tournament here in Kansas City, and then also on to the NCAA tournament.
I'm a huge college basketball fan, so this is like my favorite time of the year. I am, though, a little disappointed that the tournament starts Thursday and Friday and we're in school. and so it's going to be tough to watch the first couple rounds of the tournament when I'm supposed to be working.
You are going to be working. Dr.
Yeah,
Higgins,
and that's
right?
I'm sure I'm not the only one across the district that's like, how are we supposed to watch these games?
I know that all these kids in the audience are like, we want to be watching the games too.
Yeah,
I know, for sure.
You've got learning to do.
Yeah, speaking of our audience and speaking of our March Madness, we have our very own March Madness happening right here at Comanche Elementary School. So we're here today to talk to our two guests. We have Fallon Faroki, who is the librarian here at Comanche, and then we have Emily Madrid Rodriguez, who's a fifth grader here at Comanche. So we're so excited for the two of you to join us today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first place we want to start out at is just having you guys introduce yourselves to our audience so they know just a little bit about you. So Fallon, will you mind kicking us off?
Of course. Well, thank you so much for coming and highlighting our school and our students here. We are the best. My name is Fallon Faroki, and this is my second year here as a school librarian. I've been a school librarian all over the country, and I have to say Shawnee Mission is the best. I was a classroom teacher here in Shawnee Mission. I started off and traveled and worked, and then it's really nice to be back.
Awesome. Emily, tell us about yourself. So your name is Emily. You're fifth grade, right?
Yes.
Who's your teacher, Emily?
Mrs. Ryder.
Mrs. Ryder. Have you been at Comanche your whole career?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about siblings? Did they go to Comanche?
One of them does.
Okay. Do you have more than one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 3 siblings.
Okay. Are they in the district? Westridge, Shawnee Mission West, maybe?
Westridge.
Awesome.
And one still stays here.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great. Awesome. So, Fallon, why don't you start us off by just telling us how you got started with this March Madness book challenge?
Yes. Well, I saw it actually from another classroom teacher when I was up in Indiana. We had bulletin boards outside of our classrooms, and I saw the bracket one day. And I was like, what is this? And she was the wife of a coach at IU, and she said, I do this everywhere. And she showed me that she picked 16 books to start out with, and the students all get to read through them, and they vote for their favorites, and the books that win the most votes move on to the next round, and then they go against each other, and they vote again until there's finally one championship book. And I watched her class do it, but everyone was really interested in the books. They were talking about them, and so I tried it the next year with my class too, and it was just fire. Their energy level for reading and discussing stories just went through the roof. I'd never seen anything like it. And so every school that I've been to since then, this was like 2008, every school I've been at since then, we've done a March Madness, and it's a great way to make it a tournament of books.
Absolutely. It feeds right into that March Madness theme that's going on. Talk with us a little bit about how the books are chosen, who chooses the books, are they different genres that are covered? Just give us some background on the books.
Sure. Well, this is nationwide. A lot of librarians do it differently. I've done it lots of different ways. Even at my old building, I had a library advisory board full of students, and they helped me pick the books. We haven't done that yet here, but I basically go through and I try to put different genres against each other, so 2 graphic novels against each other, 2 biographies against each other, just so we do so much work with genres. And I try to balance out the bracket. So we have a nonfiction side and a fiction side, and eventually the students will have to pick their favorite between a fiction book and a nonfiction book.
Okay. Emily, do you have a favorite?
My favorite one was the ramen book.
Tell me about it.
So it was this guy that discovered how to make ramen. It was...
We can pull it out if you
Oh
want.
yeah, we can.
So Emily, did it win its first round matchup? Do you know if that book won its first round matchup or not?
No.
You don't know yet. But it's your pick to go all the way. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So, Fallon, who? This is school wide. Like all the kids get to vote. They all get to explore the books and see what the books are about, and then they get to vote. Talk with us a little bit about the voting process.
Yes, so I have a Google form on my iPad, and we talk about, especially with the older students, why they don't get to vote on their own iPads. We talk about voter fraud and how everyone gets one vote. They get an I voted sticker afterwards.
Cool.
And so that's just a weekly process.
Okay.
I even put the bin of books in the staff lounge so that everyone, all the teachers are invited to look. We have a Google Slides presentation of all the books going against each other. So once we get further in the tournament, we will do more with each of the books in library classes. So reading them aloud, learning about the authors, looking at the illustrations more deeply, watching the book trailers, and then the best part is once it starts being the final four, students start debating each other and giving their arguments for what book should win and why.
So Emily, I'm going to go back to this book for a minute because I love some ramen. Am I going to learn how to make ramen if I read this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to read it. All right, good to know. Tell us a little bit more about, is the whole school doing this? Is just the 5th grade? How does that work?
Yes. Well, in our school, it's all the students are invited as well as all the staff members. The only groups that aren't participating are our preschoolers because they don't come to library, and our kindergartners. We wait until the final four to introduce the books for voting. However, they do hear the books read aloud in library prior to that, so they have some familiarity.
Gotcha.
But yes, it's really fun. The students get a kick out of imagining their principal voting and our head custodian voting, and their aides voting. So it really brings the school together in one vision.
Yeah.
I like it.
And now, Fallon, you did this last year as well, correct? Okay.
did.
Emily, do you remember last year's competition with the March Madness books?
A little.
A little bit? Okay, so I got to ask you this. Did it get competitive? Like when it got down to the last couple books, were you guys like, hey, vote for this book or vote for this book? Do you remember the competitiveness of it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very competitive.
I love that. That is so much fun. Pulling for your book to win like it was your team. That's awesome.
Did you find classrooms would rally behind a book? Like, did your whole class like this book, or are you split?
Split.
Okay, so there is some room for debate. I love it.
There is, and this one is going against another food origin story called Nachos.
Oh, gotcha.
And that one is by a Kansas author, and she sent us this copy special for our school.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Fallon, are there any other kind of major topics or areas that you really try to pull in regards to the books when you're making those selections?
Yes. One of my biggest goals for our students is for them to see all of the different ways that people live, not just here in Kansas City, but all over the world. And so I try to pick books that reflect that diversity of cultures that we have, as well as my own culture. So
Yeah.
I picked one that takes place in Iran, where my family is from, and so students kind of get a glimpse about me as well.
That's awesome.
That
That's
is
awesome.
Fun. So, right now, Emily, would you say there's a predicted winner?
No.
No. Okay, it's still wide open, huh? Yeah. How about you?
It's tough to say because we've only had one round of voting so far. I do think the food ones are very popular, but we also have some that are about Women's History Month, so we have a lot of people voting for those. Yep.
Super Moms.
Oh, nice.
I'm all about this one. I might need to read this one as well.
Yeah, books about nature are really popular, so we have a lot about different animals and their body parts. Those are fun ones.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of ramen, so I would definitely be pulling for nachos. But that's just me. Emily, you've got some work to do persuading your classmates to be choosing the ramen book. So
I love nachos too, but really, ramen?
I can't do it.
Ah, it's the best.
Yeah,
You need to read the book, Doctor.
Well,
You do.
I guess so.
Maybe
You
it'll
need to read
change.
the
Can I
book, yeah.
taste it as well at the same time?
So, what are you two most excited about in regards to this whole tournament?
I'm excited to see what's going to be the winner and what's going to happen.
And how long does it last?
I I think maybe the whole few months of March.
Okay.
Yep, all the way through, I think, the second week of April. We're targeted to bring it all together. And April is School Library Month, and so that's when we celebrate the final winner, and we finally get to check out all the books. And that's what the students are most excited about, are getting the books in their own hands and getting their time to read them at their own pace.
Okay.
So does what happens with the winning book? Is it promoted? Here in the library, what happens with the winner?
Yes. So we get multiple copies for the library, and we are so thankful to be able to get a copy for every classroom as well.
Yeah, we're going to make sure everyone gets a copy of the winner.
Awesome. That is fantastic news.
So fun.
Well, it is awesome to see this project, and I'll be excited to kind of track it through its completion. But it's cool to hear about the excitement that the books bring to the kids. So before we end off here, though, I got to know, do we have a predictor of who's going to win the NCAA tournament? Fallon and Emily, who's your pick? If you're a college basketball fan, I don't know who you got, Fallon.
Well, I'm biased. I'm a Jayhawk, and my husband works for the Wildcats. So I'm going to go with the Jayhawks,
All right.
even though it's been a tough season.
You're a believer.
Yes.
You are a believer.
I actually don't have one. I don't watch college.
Okay.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Dr. Hubbard?
I want you to go first.
Rock chalk, baby. Rock. Every year, I'd pick KU to win it, regardless. So I look really smart with college basketball every once in a while.
I appreciate that you all are believers. And every year I have at least one bracket with the Jayhawks. But I'm going with UConn.
Oh, man. UConn.
I'm going with UConn. And I'd like to go with Houston a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of between
Big
those
12.
two. But I would be perfectly happy if I had chosen either of them and the Jayhawks upset them.
Yeah.
That would make me actually really happy. But I'm going with UConn.
Okay.
That's where I am this year.
I won't
So.
hold that against you.
All right. So thank you all so much for joining us today on episode 16 of Shawnee Mission Mic'd Up. I'll be just anxiously awaiting to see what wins, and I might have to pick up a few of these books myself to read. I need to learn how to make ramen. So. With that, I just want everyone to know that we have new episodes that drop every 2 weeks at smsd.org. And there's also a website that you can go to drop new ideas for our next episodes if you're interested.
Speaking of next episodes,
Yeah.
we always give a little bit of a teaser. Thoughts on next one?
I do have some thoughts. My thoughts are around early childhood. First of all, we just have some upgrades to our early childhood center I'd like to show off.
Yeah.
2, it's enrollment time for our pre-K, and it's also about to be enrollment for Jumpstart for our next year kindergartners. So I just thought it'd be a good time to highlight our youngest learners here in Shawnee Mission.
Get that information out to our listeners. So that sounds fantastic. Before we get out of here, kudos to Logan DeAngelis for his work on the music. Thanks to our communications team, as always. Obviously, a lot of work goes into this, and especially when we take it out on site. So appreciate all your guys' work. Quote. Do you wanna finish us up with the quote?
I'm going to finish up the quote, but before you do that, I also want to thank our 5th graders here that have joined us today and been such a great audience. So thank you guys for joining us here today. And yes, I do have a quote. It's kind of a quote. It's actually, I pulled the lyrics from the NCAA Shining Moment song.
Oh, and you're gonna sing it.
Written by David Barrett. You all don't want me to sing it. You do not want me to sing this. But I thought, one shining moment, you reached deep inside. One shining moment, you knew you were alive. So I bet all these books are hopeful they're alive moving forward. And until next time, thanks for joining us, and shine on, Shawnee Mission.